Barry, one of the times that Jesus' family came down to Jerusalem, we're told they came down annually for the Passover. Luke tells us that his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up according to custom. And when the feast was ended, as they were returning, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem. His parents didn't know it. They're on their way home. They don't realize that Jesus isn't with their group, and they have to come back and find him. It takes them 3 days, and they find him in the Temple Mount interacting with teachers. So where are we standing right now?
We're standing on the southern steps of the Temple Mount. And so the Jews of that time, when they came to Jerusalem, they would have come up these steps into the temple so that they could have taken care of what they need to do here.
Okay, so these steps that we're standing on are first century steps. We're also facing the southern wall of the Temple Mount. Actually, in this corner, there are the remains of the double gate.
Double gate.
Right? It's been blocked off. It's not in use. We can actually only see about half of that former gate.
Right, there's later period buildings that have blocked a lot of it.
But that would have been one of the entrance points, one of the two southern entrance points
Right.
into the Temple Mount. To imagine the events of Luke chapter 2, throngs of people coming to Jerusalem for the Passover, Jesus and his family coming south from Galilee, they would have been accessing the Temple Mount, they would have been sacrificing, there would have been teaching going on, scribes and rabbis, and Jesus was interacting with those folks.
That's right.
He was impressing the teachers. He was there for multiple days, and when Mary and Joseph finally interact with him and find him, he explains that the reason he stayed behind was to do his Father's business.
That's correct. That would all taken place up here on the Temple Mount.
You'll hear us say a lot, this was the traditional location. You'll hear us say it was somewhere in this area, but there were two primary entrances into the Temple Mount. Some think one was used for an entrance and one was used for an exit. That's even better for us because that's easy to say. Jesus used these steps. Jesus went to the Temple Mount on an annual basis. His family went there for Passover. Jesus walked on these steps. And it's thrilling to think about that and confidently say that. Now, what do you think about Jesus and his parents not realizing that he was gone for so long? I mean, people joke around about leaving their kids at the church building and 5 minutes later going, wait a minute, we have an empty seat. But for a family to be traveling and not realize that for so long, what do we make of that?
As they were going back to Galilee, there would have been a large group of people. It would have been easy for them to assume that Jesus was probably with other family members. And they got halfway up the road, and realized, oh no, he's not here.
They would have thought something along the lines of, Jesus is with Uncle so-and-so or with Aunt so-and-so. And after tracking that down, they realized, wait a minute, Jesus is not with Uncle or Aunt, he's back in Jerusalem.
He was. They found him here in the temple talking to the priests and the scribes.
That's right, so you have a 12-year-old boy interacting with these men that have made it their life's work to understand the law, to understand the rabbinical teachings. And this 12-year-old boy is interacting with them, astounding the people that are listening to him. And of course, when his family finds him, Jesus makes the statement that he has to be about his Father's business and making reference to his Heavenly Father. Jesus understands what he's about and what his mission is, even though he's a child.
That's exactly right. And I think it's so interesting how Mary approaches a lot of these things about Jesus. She sees things like that and stores them in her heart. She knows there's something special about this child.
As a parent, I think about how I would have felt to realize I left my Nazarene son, I left in Jerusalem.
And then you couldn't find him for 3 days.
It took you 3 days to find him. And then when you finally do, there isn't this, oh, I'm so sorry, Mom and Dad. There wasn't any of that. There was just this very calm, I needed to be here doing what I was sent to do. I initially probably would have been taken a little aback by that. But they obviously took that to heart. And Luke records that for us to help us understand that even at 12 years old, Jesus understood something about himself and his mission.
I'm Craig.
And I'm Stu, and we're the founders of Appian Media.
We really hope that you've enjoyed the content that you've just seen. This was only made available through the generous donations of so many of you.
We believe that the world should have biblically accurate, visually engaging content about the Bible, and it should be free for everyone.
We would encourage you to visit the membership page of appianmedia.org and consider becoming a reoccurring member. Everything that you donate to Appian Media is tax deductible.
However you decide to donate, we really appreciate your support.